We make $500,000 every single month with this email and SMS marketing strategy. And I'm literally showing you every single thing that we're sending and showing you inside the account that is actually generating these results. This video is very special because you can go look at other YouTube videos and nobody is actually showing the behind the scenes inside of the accounts and how much money these emails are actually making, as well as the other metrics such as the open rates, click rates, deliverability, and placed order rates. I'm showing it all to you. So let's just get into it. So I have this Klaviyo account right here and we're going to be going through in depth exactly what we changed and what we're doing. But just to show in terms of like the results of when we started working with this brand, which was in October, we can see the total store revenue right here. See, total store revenue is up 70% in this past 12 months. And email marketing revenue up 226%. And this blue bar right here is the email marketing revenue. You can see what it was like before us. And then after us jumping from like $100,000 a month-ish to around the $200,000 per month mark. And this doesn't even show SMS. Here we can see what the SMS results look like. And this is in the platform attentive. You can see the difference in revenue over time at around that mark when we started working with them in October, September. So let's get into the actual strategies in the accounts. So this is the past 30 days email marketing revenue, $212,000. And then SMS $287,000, coming out to a total of $500,000. So this is me, I'm Max, the founder of Wellcopy, email marketing agency. We've generated over $100 million in attributed revenue in the past 12 months. So if you want to know more about me, there are my different social media profiles. So the first thing we want to focus on is actually not about email and SMS. It's actually with your sign-up forms and your list growth. I believe that the number one most important part of your email marketing and SMS marketing strategy is your list growth because it's so easy but such high leverage. Say you could double the amount of people joining your email and SMS lists, you will be able to double your email and SMS revenue over the long term. It's that simple, yet so many people just throw up a templated pop-up form and hope that they're growing their list. When in reality, every single day you are letting people slip by and you are losing revenue just by not making these couple tweaks, which we did for this brand. So exactly why do we want to focus on sign-up forms? It's because people just aren't ready to buy when they first visit your site in 2025. So without a pop-up form, you're just left with only a few bucks from the people who are ready to buy on your website right then and there. The other people will leave and just never come back. You're paying all this money on ad traffic, they're going to your website, maybe you'll get a good ROAS here, but most people are just going to leave. But a high converting pop-up will allow us to capture the folks that we paid so much money to acquire, even if they aren't ready to buy right now. We're able to then educate them through email about why our brand is different, and then convert them after we have their trust and their objections have been addressed. So rather than just letting everybody leave here, we can at least still get this return, but get more out of our website traffic to then send them emails and text messages and create a much higher ROI. And so these were the results that we did over these forms, and I'm going to show you exactly the form strategy and list growth strategy that we used, but we've absolutely transformed everything. Through meticulous A/B testing, we took their form conversion rate from 4%, which isn't bad, that's around industry average, to now we're converting 16.9% of their website visitors into email subscribers. That is a 4x in their email list growth, 4 times the amount of people they're getting off of their ads, and 4 times the amount of people that they can then educate over email to get them to buy. So what we get is around 17,000 to 30,000 new email subscribers per month and 8,000 to 12,000 new SMS subscribers per month. And their acquisition revenue from these systems being around $200,000 to $300,000 per month, which you can see here with these analytics in the sign-up rate over just the past 30 days. So as far as the strategy, what exactly are we doing? In 2025, we can't just do a basic, just enter your email for 10% off sign-up form. The customer is bored of that and they have ADHD. They need interaction and they need ways to get them out of their zombie-like scroll state. So what we do is we use a survey form using the platform called Alia. If you say I sent you, you can get 10% off, but essentially it's a pop-up form software which allows you to create immersive and high converting sign-up forms just like these. So why would we do something like this where we're asking a question before we ask for somebody's email address? It seems counterintuitive, like adding an extra step for the customer. You'd think you want to remove steps for the customer to get them to enter their email. But no, we have a couple psychological reasons that this form gets customers to convert at a higher rate. First, low barrier to entry. It looks like somebody just needs to answer this question in order to get their discount. And so they're much likely to interact with this first step. In fact, we're getting over 50% of people to interact with this first step. And then what we have is the customization bias. Humans tend to convert better when they feel that they are getting a personalized product or service. So right here, when we're asking somebody, hey, what problem are you trying to solve? Then they know that we're going to know this information and be able to get them custom products and actually address their exact needs. This also is commitment bias, which is how humans tend to follow through on actions once they start a process. So in this case, somebody's answering this first question. So they're going to answer what problem I'm trying to solve. Say I'm trying to fix my scars. And then the next step of this form is it's asking for the email address. So they are much more likely to enter their email address off of this because they already acted on this first step. Somebody clicks this first step, and then it's asked for the email address. And the person thinks, I've already started with the process. I might as well just enter my email. And then after that, we say, enter your phone number to activate your discount. And that plays into it even more. And it's also novelty bias. Humans are much more likely to engage with things that are new or they haven't experienced before. Customer just hasn't seen these types of forms right now. Now give this a year or so and people are going to be worn out from this form and we're going to have to try something new. But right now, this just works exceptionally well. And so for this brand, for example, our welcome discount, we tested % off versus dollar off versus a mystery discount. This is a super high leverage A/B test, is to test your different offers. So you can see for this brand, it's 15% off. What I would do is I'd test 15% off versus something like $10 off. This brand right here, you could say you've got 21% back. So it's doing cash back versus 21% off. You can see the discount is really weird. It's 21%. They probably tested 21% versus 20%. For some reason, people just interact with 21% more. So make sure you A/B test your offer. We started off with doing % off for our brand. We tested a mystery discount and we texted dollar off, and dollar off was the winner. And that's what we're currently running to have 16.9% conversions. So that is the list growth, 4x in the growth right here. And that just made our lives so much easier so that we can convert these people with our actual emails, which is what we're going to talk about first, which are these automated flows. So let's talk about the email flows that we set up. Email flows are the automated emails that are going to fire for a customer based on an action that they take. So when a customer does something like joining your email list or abandoning a cart, then we can fire custom emails for the customer and give them the information that they actually need to buy. These are essential because they allow us to send this custom content based on where they're at in the customer journey, which increases the likelihood of conversion. Plus, who doesn't like automated revenue? So these are the exact flows that we currently have live in the account and then the number of emails within each flow. First off, we have the welcome flow. And this is going to trigger when somebody joins the email list. And the purpose is to give the customer their discount and educate them on the brand to guide them into a purchase. Our products are a little bit more expensive than other competitors in the clothing niche. So we need to educate these people and build trust. So we send 8 emails, which is kind of a lot. You don't need to send this many. The sweet spot is usually 4 to 5. But for this brand, we just had so many high converting emails that we've used that we're confident in that we want every customer to receive when they join the email list. So we went with 8 emails. And then we have the site abandon flow, which is when someone is active on the website, but they don't actually view any products. This is a flow that not a lot of brands have, but the goal is to get the customer back on the site to browse products. And where you have 3 emails right here in this flow, pretty much saying like, hey, did you not find what you were looking for? And then give them some social proof like, hey, we're really awesome, and show them our best sellers to make their browsing experience easier. Our next abandonment is the browse abandonment flow, which is when somebody views a product, but they don't add it to cart or make a purchase. And so we want to get the customer to convert on that browsed item. So we have 5 emails here specifically being like, hey, you left this item behind, you browsed this, come back and finish your order. Our next flow, which not a lot of brands have, but we found this works really well for this brand, and that is the espresso shot flow. So this is going to trigger when somebody clicks on an email, but they don't purchase. What we do here is this is a high intent person. So we just want to have a couple emails here as an extra nudge to try to get an impulse purchase. And we even include a discount here because this brand is pretty big on discount. And then we have the cart and checkout abandoned flows here, which have a difference. The cart abandoned flow is when somebody adds to cart, but they don't purchase. And the checkout abandoned flow is when somebody adds to cart and then they go to the checkout page to enter their credit card information and then they don't buy. So we have 5 emails here for the cart abandoned, and the checkout abandoned. We have more. We have 7 emails because this person almost just bought from us and they were so close. So we're not afraid to send multiple reminders. Then we have the post purchase flow when somebody places an order just to get upsells, affirm their purchase, and build some community. We have 2 emails set in place here. And then similarly, we have the win back flow, but this is going to be when somebody bought 90 days ago, but they haven't bought since, to try to get them to purchase again. We've got 4 emails here. And then we have the sunset flow, which is when somebody has been inactive on the email list for 180 days. How can we re-engage these inactive profiles? And if they don't engage, let's suppress the inactive people to save money on our Klaviyo bill. And right here, we have 2 emails. And here you can see the performance right here on the email side of things. You can see our best performer is the welcome flow right here. Obviously, it's pulling in 38 grand every month-ish. And then the rest is also coming from SMS, which I'll be showing shortly. And then we have the cart abandon and the checkout abandon here. Very important that you have 2 separate flows for cart and checkout abandon. Most brands that I review, they only have this checkout abandon. But look at this cart abandon. It's our second best performing flow, which is bringing in 16 grand or so a month. The checkout abandon, then we have the browse abandon for anybody who've used the product. We can see the results right here. Then that post-purchase flow, try to get an immediate upsell and then also push people to our social media. You see this espresso shot flow, which most brands don't have. This is bringing in an extra 3.5 grand or so a month. And then abandoned site right here. Somebody goes to the website, but they don't view any products. Then you can see the win back flow right here, which we've actually just pulled back on because we found it's not really bringing in a lot of revenue because we're sending email campaigns 3 to 4 times per week. And most people are rebuying off of those email campaigns. If you're not sending email campaigns, then this win back flow is going to be super, super important. And it would be generating thousands and thousands of dollars for this brand if we weren't sending email campaigns at such a high frequency. And then we have the sunset flow, which the purpose is not to get revenue. The purpose is to get people back on the email list or suppress these unengaged profiles. So it's not really bringing any revenue in. So you can see the exact performance on these, and you can see this is very typical in terms of performance of each flow. Usually the order of conversions is somewhere around this for brands. The performance would be much higher, probably double the performance for every single one of these if we weren't running SMS for this brand. If you have SMS and email running at the same time, SMS is typically, as long as you do it right, going to bring in more revenue on the flows side of things. So if I had to estimate, we'd probably be at double the revenue for most of these if we weren't running the SMS, but I'll be taking you through the performance here on that shortly. So those are the email flows, and these are the exact results. It's around $100,000 a month, contributing to 16% of the total store revenue from these email flows. This video right here, this email flows tutorial, breaks down all of these flows for you if you want to see them in depth in each email actually broken down. So I highly recommend checking this out. If you want to get an idea, this is like what a welcome flow may look like. You can see the education on the brand and pushing people to place their order with the discount code. That's what a welcome flow may look like. Meanwhile, abandoned site, so somebody goes to the website but they don't view any products. This could be what something looks like. Lost in choices, let us point you in the right direction, and then promote some of the best sellers. And then the next abandonment, we have the abandoned browse flow. So if somebody views a product and then leaves, we want to have the dynamic Klaviyo section showing what that person left behind, mixing in some social proof, some unique selling propositions, and if you want to add a discount, you can. And then abandoned cart and abandoned checkout. For our brand, we have different strategies for cart and checkout, but if you're short on time, you can make them the same. You can see for getting something, the dynamic section, have some icons and a little bit of social proof right here. You can see, again, some more education here, mixing in some text-based emails right here. So it's a little bit personal, some more social proof and testimonials, and then a discount as well if you want to include that. For post-purchase, right after someone buys, we want to have an immediate thank you and then like a PS of just like, hey, place another order. You can do that here, pushing people to social media and then educating on the product right here. And for win back, somebody bought a while ago, we can say something as straightforward as, hey, it's been a while, yada, 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 place another order, take this discount, whatever you want. And that's kind of like what your system can look like. The brand that we use is quite different and the designs are really elevated because our products are really expensive. So we want to make sure our designs reflect that. So ours look pretty different, but the strategy is kind of like in a nutshell very similar. So that's on the email flows side of things. Now let's talk about the SMS flows. SMS flows we have to keep much similar and minimal compared to email, but SMS flows are just as important, if not more. So we need to keep things super, super simple to avoid annoying the customer. People are going to unsubscribe from text messages a lot sooner than they would email. We have to be very, very intentional. And there are certain rules that we need to follow, like for abandonment flows, like cart and checkout abandon on SMS. It's actually illegal to send more than one text message. So we can only have one. So we can see we have the same sort of flows here, but we have way less messages within them. So we have our welcome flow. We're sending 3 SMS messages being like, hey, welcome, here's your discount. And if somebody doesn't use their discount, then we're going to remind them twice more, just being like, hey, your discount's expiring. The side abandon flow, just 1 SMS, and then browse abandon, cart abandon, checkout abandon. These are all going to have 1 SMS as well. We have 2 text messages for the win back flow. We actually have a back in stock flow right here as well, specifically just for SMS, because for this brand, we're only gathering their phone number when somebody requests to be notified when an item is back in stock. And then here are the results. We can see the revenue for each one. I'll break these down, but we're currently doing around $150K a month, contributing to 24% of the store revenue. You can see we changed welcome flows right here. So both of the welcome flows are right up here. We can see they do just over $100,000 a month just with that welcome flow. And that's what having a really good pop-up form can do to you, because you have a lot of people entering in here. You can see we had 2 cart abandon flows here, which are bringing in different amounts of revenue because we changed this as well through the month. And we have the checkout abandon right over here. And then our 2 browse abandons, which you can see right here. You can see the conversion rates and everything, the average order value, the revenue per message. But this again is pretty typical, and these KPIs are pretty solid and probably what you're going to go for. You can see super high unsubscribe rates on the welcome flow right here. That's pretty typical because people will sign up to the SMS list, get their discount code, and then immediately unsubscribe. So it's not too out of the ordinary. You see the different conversion rates here, which is going to be after somebody clicks. I know people always worry about click rates, and so these are pretty typical click rates that we can shoot for. Those are the exact numbers and how they're performing. Those are the automated messages. Now let's actually talk about the campaigns. So the campaigns are the one-time emails and SMS that you're sending to the list, such as if there's like a Memorial Day sale, you're going to send that to people at a specific day and time. Whereas flows you set live, and then they're automatically going to be sending as people complete that action. So let's talk about the email campaign strategy right off the bat. What is the strategy that we're doing for this brand? So what we're doing is we are sending 3 to 4 email campaigns campaigns per week. This is so we can stay top of mind and maximize our inbox visibility. Now, some people might be like, oh, that's way too many emails. But look at the top brands, Aloe, Dr. Squatch, Ridge, Fiore. They're sending emails on average 4 to 7 times per week. And if these brands who are at the forefront of all marketing trends in the game right now are doing this, then they probably know what they're doing. To be safe, we like to send 3 to 4 email campaigns per week. If you think that's too much, just run it for a month, review the results, and I can almost guarantee that the results are going to be better. As far as the content, we're leading with value, not offers. We want to build trust and increase our long-term conversion. We can't just spam discounts. We're giving them value and we're educating them. This is going to decrease our unsubscribe rates. We're focused on non-discounts, educate, entertain, and differentiate our brand. Something that we're doing a lot is text-based emails, which I will show you, but essentially these have no images. They just feel personal. It comes from a team member and they cut through all the noise and they just feel way more personal. When we do use our graphics, we're making our emails skimmable, punchy, and optimized for mobile first. 85% of people are opening their emails on their phone, so we need to make sure that we're optimized for our phone. And people aren't sitting down and reading their emails. They're just skimming them super quick, so we need to make them skimmable and punchy. We create email campaigns around micro topics, not generic themes. We need to go deep on product features or specific customer FAQs. Rather than having a general email about we're the best, we want to focus on one thing about why we're the best. Something like how our materials are sustainable and good for the environment. That's a micro topic that's super specific that makes it a lot more digestible for the customer. If we overwhelm them with 10 different benefits of ours in one email, the customer's going to get overwhelmed and they're not going to remember any of our benefits. Whereas if we just focus on one and really try to drill that home, the customer is much more likely to actually internalize that. That's what we want to do. We also want to pull a lot of social proof, reviews, and user content, which is going to add our credibility and then also our connection to the customers. We design our emails inside of Figma, which is a design tool, and then we're uploading our images into Klaviyo for clean and consistent layouts and better deliverability. And then we want to rotate between story, product, and value angles to avoid list fatigue and keep things as fresh as possible. So you can see like bad content is 50% off, limited time offer, discount exclusive, buy our stuff. No, good content, we want to do tips and tricks for whatever this benefit is. A message from our founder. Watch out for this in the industry. Watch out for wearing these materials with your clothes. These are our favorite picks. What does this mean? This is the sort of stuff which is going to keep your email list engaged. And so kind of like our main subtopics here is graphic-based value emails. This is what we're sending 3 times per week, and then we'll probably do like 1 text-based email per week on top of that. So we want these graphic-based emails specifically for fashion brands because customers need to see products in action. They need to be able to see other people wearing the products so that you can judge yourself if you look good in that product. So having sexy graphic design is extremely important for fashion brands because people are buying our vibes. We want to focus on our strong branding, clear visuals, and conversion optimized designs that don't rely on discounts. So we can see a couple of examples here. You can see kind of like the email, which goes on top of the vibe of like the checkered cases. You can see the checkered throughout. It's just nice and clean and fun. You can see this is a great non-discount educational email saying not all scrubs are created equal. Polyester and cotton are like bad exes. And so kind of just showing how our products are different from that and then linking to men's versus women's. You can see this also is not overwhelming the customer with a ton of information. Short, quick, and punchy. Somebody can look at this email for 3 to 5 seconds and understand it. Perfect. And then something like this, like brand messages. Golf wasn't born to be boring. Neither were you. You can see a button way up at the top of this email, which is easy for the customer to click. And this is the most like amount of copy that you would want to include all at once in an email. Since this is a brand message campaign, this is okay to do every now and again. But most often we want to be using bullet points. We want to be able to use icons like this. But these are 3 great examples of kind of like the stuff that we're sending 3 times per week would be. And then just as important, we have our text-based emails because this is the secret sauce. In 2025 and 2026, we need to make sure we're mixing in personal touches. People today want to buy from people. They don't just want to buy from faceless corporations. Following COVID, the customer is craving human interaction. We need to give them that. Text-based emails are one way to do that. They look exactly like they're coming from a friend and they just pull the customer closer to you. You can see coming from a person right here. There's no crazy graphics and the simplicity of them just converts better in most cases. Builds trust, builds community. The simplicity just converts better. Now you might be wondering, why don't we only send text-based emails? But we really don't want to oversend them. Even though they do typically perform better, we need to make sure we're visually appealing our customers and giving them variation in our emails for them to stay subscribed. We have a couple brands in the past where we were like, text-based emails always perform better. Let's only send text-based emails. But we noticed that they lose effectiveness over time as the customer really gets used to them and there's no visual appeal. Like I said, the customer customer is kind of like brain dead. They're addicted to dopamine and they just scroll all day, every day. They need dopamine. They need to be visually appealed. They need newness. If you aren't giving them new, then what's the reason for someone to open this email? If they know exactly what it's going to look like every single time, just plain text, then there's no reason for them to keep opening your emails. So use them sparingly, but still use them. You can see this is like an FAQ email of what does it taste like. You can see it's short, punchy, personal. It's coming from a friend. It says, hey, yo, talk like a friend, just right here, and then sign it off from a person. You can see the sender name is from a person. That makes a huge difference. Here's another example here. It's from a person. You can see how simple this is. These aren't essays of information. It's still easy for the customer to skim. And you can see just how much the call to action stand out. So they're the only thing that's underlined and also in the colored blue. These are the sort of the emails that we want. And we're sending these usually once per week for our brands. So these are the exact email campaign results and monthly calendar example for this brand of the exact topics. So we send typically 15 to 18 emails per month to the normal engaged lists for this brand. And these email campaigns are generating an average of $100,000 a month, contributing to 16% of the total store revenue. So let's take a look at these past 30 days right here. See, we sent on the 23rd, 24th, 27th, 29th, 29th, 2nd, 5th, 6th, 8th, 9th, 12th, 13th, 15th. Generally, we have a day or two in between emails, but every once in a while we send 2 back to back. You can see the open rates are all 60 to 70% because we're very tight with who we're sending to, and we're only sending to people who are actually opening our emails. We send to our whole lists, and we're gonna get a lot of people who aren't opening our emails. And if you have anything like 20 to 30% open rates, Google and inbox providers will see that and they'll be like, hey, only 20 to 30% of people who are receiving this email are opening these emails. People probably don't want to see this brand. So we're going to send them to the spam folder. Whereas if we're sending emails and we're getting 70% opens, we tell Google and Yahoo that 7 out of 10 people who receive this email are opening it. They're going to be like, okay, cool, let's send this to the main inbox. So it's very important to have that segmentation in place. And so here you can see the click rates right here. These are pretty standard. We're going to be as low as like 0.4%, but all the way up to kind of like 3% even. This is pretty standard. Now, some people will say you need like 2 to 3% placed order rates consistently, but that's just unreasonable. If you're a brand who has under 5,000 email subscribers, then yes. But the bigger your brand gets, the lower your click rates become. We have brands with 0.2 to 0.3% click rates consistently, but they're still generating a ton of revenue from the email list, which just proves that click rates aren't something that you need to fully stress over. But as far as the topics and what we're doing, we could see this is like a sustainability highlight for Earth Day. So we really want to play into the seasons as much as we can. And we try to put as much urgency as possible while keeping things natural. So using things like pre-orders and then doing restocks like here, and back in stock, what we do there is we have created demand and urgency. If something needs to get pre-ordered or something is back in stock, that means that it went out of stock, which means that it was in high demand, which tells people, oh my gosh, this is a big product. I need to buy this. So what we did was we hyped things with a pre-order and then did a big back in stock and restock here. You can see the revenue that these did multiple days in a row and the performance on the pre-order right here. Even if something doesn't necessarily go out of stock, we can still promote this and use that angle. That's what marketing is. And then everything else in terms of what we're doing is we're filling in with non-discount angles, which we found work well for the brand. So things like, what's your vibe? So this was like, are you going for a night out? Here are what the products are. Are you having a night in? Here's what products you can use. Going on a coffee date, here's some different outfits that you can represent. So we do that. We have staff picks, so highlighting like some of our staff's picks, and then lots of outfit inspiration. So a seasonal outfit inspiration and outfit inspiration here, and then featuring our community. So follow our IG, we featured some of our customers there, and then also featured our community with images that were sent to the Instagram and saying like, hey, here are other people in these items, buy these items. And that worked really well. And then also typically we're doing one promotion every single month. So we did a free item with orders above X amount of dollars. You can see the performance on this and how well it did. Anything over 1 to 2 kind of like sales per month, and you might be overdoing it. This is just what we've found work well with them. So that is the exact strategy and the exact numbers that we were achieving for them. Now let's go to the SMS campaigns. And the strategy for our SMS is we only want to send SMS for high leverage moments, such as sales, product drops, back in stock alerts, and any urgent updates. We want to avoid nurture content in our SMS, like doing community in our pieces, what's our vibe. We don't want to do this for SMS because that's going to be stuff that gets people to unsubscribe. People don't want to be nurtured on SMS. Text messages can be annoying. We just want to send the big stuff. So save the storytelling and value add content just for email. We stick to 3 to 6 texts per month to preserve our urgency and avoid our list unsubscribes. As far as the content that we're doing, this is the content strategy. Our messages need to all be under 250 characters, which is not a lot. That's literally like 1, maybe 2 sentences. This is gonna save costs by having this only be 1 send segment. If we even went 1 character over to 251 characters, the price is gonna be double. So we always keep it as short as possible, just quick and to the point. We also wanna skip images and MMS. So if you ever see a brand send you a text message that has an image, they paid 3 times more money than they would have if it was just plain text. Now, a lot of brands don't know this, and so they send a lot of image-based text messages, but it's almost never that including that image will generate 3 times more revenue. So we always cut that and keep it as simple as possible to save costs. And then always include a clear CTA. We want to say shop now or claim offer, then have a direct link in our text message. That's the strategy, and here is exactly what the month looked like and the strategy that we did. We're sending 4 to 6 SMS per month for them and just sending to our normal engaged lists. And these campaigns, just these 5 right here, contribute to 16% of store revenue and $100,000 every single month. You can see all of these were big announcements with urgency. We did a collection highlight saying, hey, this collection is going fast. We did the restock right here. So 2 different restock SMS messages. We have the offer SMS that we sent, and then the pre-order collection email right here. You could see the collection going fast was like the only one that wasn't like a big announcement, like, hey, a restock. You could see the performance was the worst on the month at 12 grand. Meanwhile, the restocks like this and the pre-order and then the discount right here all had at least 50% more revenue. You could see the click rate as well being much lower. So this is why we only want to have SMS for our big events. So that was the email and SMS campaign strategy. Let's get into the overall results and lessons. Here was the total store revenue, which I showed you over time. You can see the jump in email revenue right here. In email marketing past 30 days, $212,000 contributing to 33% of the total store revenue, and then SMS $287,000 contributing to another 35 to 40% of total store revenue, resulting in on average of 65% of this store's total revenue coming from our emails and our text messages, with over $500,000 a month coming in. What are our lessons? Number 1, you want to dial in your pop-up forms to explode your list growth and the amount of people that you can market to. We need to be sending 12 to 18 email campaigns per month, sending at that volume and using non-discount angles, using both graphic-based emails and then also mixing in some text-based emails. We need to send 3 to 6 SMS campaigns per month, solely focused on big events and no nurture, setting up our core flows with email, making sure we have 3 to 6 emails per flow. We can't just make them one email, and then set up our core SMS flows with 1 to 3 SMS in each flow. And then of course, test. Our results were never like this the whole time. It's about optimizing and learning over time. And so if you want us to do this for you, if you're a 7 to 9-figure e-commerce brand, book a free discovery consultation call and we'll see if we can do this for you. The link is going to be in the description. And that is it for this one. I hope you got some value seeing the actual insides and what the stats are for a real brand we're generating $500,000 a month for. I hope you got some value. Make sure to check out other videos on my channel like the one linked here, because a lot of this information I'm giving away shouldn't be free. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.